Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel outside the target demographic. Today I'm going to be showing you an easy add to your everyday carry kit, and that is a set of vice grips. Let's get started. For those of you who don't know, this is a set of vice grip pliers, and basically what it'll do is it will vise the grip into place until you release it with this lever. So let's say, very much like hemostats, you can grab onto something and continue applying until these guys cross over, and now you're vicing, you're gripping onto whatever it is you're trying to grab. So the same principle applies here. The only difference is you have an adjuster here, and you'll notice as I spin this, the jaws will open and close. So what you can do is go ahead and close it. Notice that that's a little too loose. Put that in the jaw. Close it until it bites. Open, give it like an eighth of a turn more, and you'll hear a snap, and it's now grabbing that item pretty firmly until you use this lever and it releases. The benefit to such a thing is I can open this jaw quite a ways. We're looking, 1 1/4 inch, right? The further open it is, the less bite it's going to get. But you just saw that's a trick I can do too. So let's say that I'm trying to get it to grip onto something that's a pretty decent diameter, right? So I can just grip it around there, take the tension out of this, give it another eighth of a turn, and clamp it into place. So the benefit of it clamping is twofold. One, the jaws are going to be serrated, and that's going to allow you to grab onto a pipe or something that you need to rotate, and that's going to bite in much harder than you would possibly be able to sustain by gripping it with your hand. The fact that you can tension it to bite a little firmer, depending on if it's something squishy or something more rigid like a pipe, you can adjust the bite and therefore the amount of grip on the item to be able to adjust it where you need it to go. I've seen the Knipex XS Cobra, I think it is. They're like $20, $25. This was $6 at a, well, I guess anywhere, but this one specifically was from a Tractor Supply, and it holds itself into place. It takes up 1.5 inch by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 inches. So actually pretty small. Sits really flush. I'd say it's about 1/2 inch thick. Not so heavy, but definitely pocketable. And there's a few other things it can do that we haven't gotten into yet. So not only can you adjust the jaw and bite onto something, like let's say there's a nail head sticking out. Instead of me trying to have to keep that clamped onto that nail head and try prying it up, once I get this snapped onto the nail head, all I have to worry about is wobbling or pulling up to pry the nail head or screw or what have you out. So it removes the requirement of me to have a constant grip. Since it requires me not to have a constant grip, I now have a third set of hands. So working with generators and 1970s Honda CL350 motorcycle and all sorts of things, there was an occasion where I was driving the CL350 on the highway. One of the fuel lines had popped off of I think it was the overflow for the carburetor. Exciting times. Definitely something you need to be concerned at 9:30 at night, pitch black, raining as I recall, because naturally it would have to be, and blowing gas everywhere. So by having this guy, I was able to adjust this to be quite tight, and I was able to pinch off that fuel line. I believe I was banging on one cylinder until I got to a gas station where I was able to address the issue. But you can use this as not only a gripper, but as a fuel line cutoff. Or let's say on a motorcycle, you have your clutch and your front brake or your rear brake or your gear select with your feet. If you've ever dropped your bike off-roading, dirt biking, something like that, and one of those levers breaks off, you're kind of out of luck. With this guy, you can adjust it to fit onto the broken nub of that lever, get it to snap into place, and now you have a replacement lever that's going to be good enough to get you where you need to go. Or you'll be able to get your foot under this or on top of it to make your gear selects and get where you need to go. For $6, cheap insurance. So again, it's a third hand. It's an additional lever if you need it. It's a hose pincher offer. I'm sure that's the industry term, by the way. Right here, you have wire cutters inside the jaw. So not only do you have wire cutters, but now you have a very decent amount of leverage due to the mechanics going on in here, where you're going to be able to cut through much thicker material much easier. Additionally, you can open this to do a partial cut, open it again to tighten it a little bit more, to do a second partial cut, third partial cut, final cut, and snap much thicker gauged wire with a relatively small pair of pliers. Before I had picked up the Harbor Freight Icon set, I had used this as a dedicated screwdriver handle. So what I could do is with a standard 1/4 inch adapter, I was able to bite this down, use whatever bit I wanted to, and now this becomes a screwdriver. Or, and again, this is the Harbor Freight one. The one I was using was maybe only that long. You can grab it this way, and you'll have to open it a little bit more, close it a little bit more, snap it into place. Man, that's biting on the front, not even, it's using just 2 teeth to grab that, and it's not flexing at all. I was able to use it as a handle like that. You saw on camera how it took 12 seconds to line that up, which is why this is not my dedicated screwdriver handle anymore. The last thing that you can do with this is cut a notch into it. So you can see there's a notch right there and a notch right there. Basically, I put this in a vise. I opened it up all the way, and I used a Dremel to cut a in line with the jaw cut into it. And the reason you'd want to do something like that is part of my EDC carry kit as well are Sawzall blades. And if you can get it lined up in those 2 cuts, it's going to take a little bit of work, so let me go off camera. You can turn it into the handle of a Sawzall blade. And if you're camping, hiking, backpacking, anything like that, clearly I wouldn't be using this as a daily use tool if you're a plumber or carpenter or something. But let's say your battery dies or blows up since they're lithium or something like that. The ability to have a backup handle with you and be able to use any of the various blade lengths or sizes to cut through wood or metal or what have you, you have a additional handle to be able to do that. So again, a relatively small footprint, $6. I would call this a multi-tool. It grabs the things, it pries the things, it clamps the things, it gives you a third set of hands. You can use it for gluing 2 items together. You can use it for prying items apart. You can use it for pipes, grabbing squishy things, grabbing solid things, saw blade handle. I mean, this is kind of a do-all item for $6. I imagine you can find smaller ones, you can find larger ones, depending on what it is you're looking to do with it. There's a couple times in my work life where there's a item, it's a, let's say, it's an axle that used to have a lug or a plastic handle sticking out of it, and that plastic handle is sheared off. So now you're trying to grab a cylindrical item and apply torque or leverage on it. I've had a couple times now the coworkers know to come to me because I have the tools, and I'm able to clamp this into place. This now becomes a lever like I was talking about on the motorcycle, and we're able to make the adjustments on the thing. So to me, for $6, it does a great many things, arguably more useful than any Leatherman tool that I've used. I feel like the jaw is able to handle nuts, bolts, pipes, like I said, axles, use it as a saw blade handle, hold a nail and use the nail to punch things. I've used it as a hammer. Actually, I'm maybe going to put a little bit of a flat spot on that, but I've used it as a hammer since I don't carry a hammer around. So it does all the things, especially for $6. It doesn't break the wallet. So this is outside the target demographic. As always, I appreciate you guys stopping by. Any questions, comments, concerns you have, leave them in the comments section below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.